Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Esports Cup. We are here in the last season of 2024, round 2 here at Oulton Park. I am Aaron Smith, your host for tonight. Unfortunately, JR Gregory is anonymous tonight, don't know where he's gone. But instead we're joined by Avery McDonald, not seen him in a long time. Joshua Wilkie, as always, also in the production booth. Well, welcome Avery. I don't remember the last time you drove or even commentated over these Radical cars, if ever. But if it is the first time, welcome. These races are always just chaotic, as we saw last time out in Brands Hatch. It was just lights to flag, absolute, well, brain messery. It was just chaos. We had great racing, huge incidents, and in the end only one victor. It was James Barry, who is here tonight as well. Can he go 2 for 2 and make it a double British opening victory in these first 2 rounds? Well, Avery, going into today's racing, as we're just in the qualifying session, what are you expecting? What are you looking forward to? You know, give us your full rundown.
Well, I'm looking forward to some high speeds here because, you know, we don't have the chicanes here at Oulton Park, so it's a fun little track. I did drive the car a little bit earlier today to get a feel for the car. You know, I did run a couple races last season. I filled the field because it was no split, so just kind of wanted to see what the car was like in the race systems. So, you know, it's just one thing I learned with this Radical is you can't be too aggressive too quick because you got to get those tires to warm up, and it's a fun 12-corner track. You know, every time I've driven at Oulton Park, it's usually got the chicanes. I'm usually driving like the Formula 4 or the Mazda. But when I drove that Radical earlier today, it was a blast. I mean, it's probably the most fun I've ever had driving a Radical, and I was just by myself.
Yeah, honestly, these cars are incredibly fun to hot lap, and well, we all remember the old SR8. That car was just glorious. Throwing that car into every single corner was so much fun. This car's just a little bit more planted, a little bit more honed in, and definitely is overall, you would say, a much faster car. But the SR8, my God, the noise from that thing, the feeling, it's definitely slower. We all know that. It's technically horrible to drive, but, you know, it just had that little soul about it, and we all dearly miss that car. But here we are in the SR10. It's brilliant for racing, this car. Honestly, the type of racing that you get in this series is absolutely nothing else comes close. I mean, even the weekend series that we run every 3 weeks here on Apex Racing TV, that series, both the European and America series, have both been absolutely fantastic. and we return next week at Spa for both European and American series. Do tune in for that. It's going to be a fantastic one. But here in now, it's Friday, 10 o'clock here in the UK, and we're getting ready for some racing. But before that, of course, we have a 8-minute qualifying session, and at the moment it's Andrea Castro who leads the way with a 119.8, 4 tenths ahead of James Barry, your victor last weekend. So goes to show just how on it Castro is in this qualifying session, really seeming to enjoy this Oulton Park circuit so far.
Yeah, Castro, only driver in that 119s, and just a couple drivers out there, Karakopolis, Gonzaga, Sanchez, Bryce, and Rantanen are the only drivers out on track. And this is a track when you don't run the chicanes, you have to be on it. Use as much of the track as you can, and it's a fixed setup, so you don't got to worry about making any changes. You just drive it. There's Rantanen going across the line up into third place, but qualifying is gonna be super important because it might be a little bit difficult to pass with the speeds, and it is kind of a more of a narrow track. So we'll see. 17 laps is the distance. So I mean, we're sitting in a good spot for time. What I love about these races, Aaron, they're real fast. They're short races, but they're still long enough to where you can maybe stretch out a really good battle.
Yeah, 100%, and they're short and snappy and just straight to the point. As that's Wesley Bryce tempted to go on another lap, but has just finished his. He's 16th at the moment, near the bottom of the grid. And, well, you mentioned Raitanen briefly, but that lap time from him is very, very good. We don't often see Raitanen too far up the field. He's usually in the mid-pack, but what a lap time from the Finn. That's really going to boost his spirits going into the race. Only 700ths off of James Barry, who is fighting for a championship in that Radical European Series and potentially could be one of the drivers fighting for the championship in this series every single week. And, well, 4 tenths again from Castro. That's a huge gap. It's such a small track, and, well, like you said, Avery, you've got to be on it all the time at a track like this. I mean, in the normal layout, let alone this higher speed, far more risk-taking layout, as that's a tad bit of understeer. But Karakopolis coming through the final few corners, and this last corner always tricky. It's so easy to lock a brake in there. A little bit deep from the Swiss driver. Not sure how much of an improvement, if at all, this lap is going to be as he comes across the line. Is it going to put him any further up the grid? It does not, unfortunately, and was just a tiny bit slower than his personal best. And, well, that's going to bring us towards the end of qualifying. Nearly all of our drivers have set a lap. Only 2 drivers haven't, and that was Lorenzato and Andreas Friedrich, who, well, Andreas, we know how quick he has been consistently in this Friday series. And once again, in that European Radical Series, he is a mega quick driver. So watch out for him, all the way down in 19th place, and with the highest iRacing in this lobby as well. And he's going to be fantastic to watch come through the field. But now we're going to move on to the grid, your 20-car field here at Oulton Park. And it's Andrea Castro on pole position, nearly 4 tenths ahead of James Barry. Can he go 2 for 2 in these opening rounds? We'll wait and see. Sauli Raitanen, an impressive 3rd for him, and the rest of the grid is as follows. We've got Heinz Braun in 4th place, Cadora in 5th, Karakopolis in 6th, Gonzaga 7th, Reed in 8th, Caruso in 9th, Larson in 10th, Sanchez in 11th, Talamadi in 12th place, and then 13th downwards is going to be Chris Wells, Myron Iani in 14th, Gabriel Berger in 15th, Bryce in 16th, Lee Anderson in 17th, Robert Woodward in 18th, and your 2 drivers that didn't set a time, Andreas Friedrich and Enzo Lorenzato, in 19th and 20th place. Like I said, watch out for Andreas Friedrich. He's going to be mega quick. And, well, Avery, you were talking about the fact that this track is quite difficult to overtake. Maybe these longer straights might help that a tiny bit, but I mean, this track is very narrow, very tricky to overtake around here. There's not too many slow speed corners that you can fully send one down the inside. It's very tricky to get an overtake done here. You kind of have to wait for a mistake or be much quicker than the car in front. And we're just waiting for the last 2 drivers to grid up. I believe it's Bryce and Kyrkopolis. We've got Denny on the grid there, as you saw, and Bryce. And that's all of your 20 drivers. Now we just anxiously wait for the 5 red lights to go out. It's extremely foggy here in Oulton Park. Shock, we're in the UK. It's grey, and we are green underway here at Oulton Park. And that is a great start from James Barry, already leapfrogging Castro before we get into the first corner. But Castro's going to try and fight this one round the outside. It's Heinz Braun who's gotten the jump into third as well. Reitinen not having a great start. Into turn 3 we go. Seems fairly clean from everyone so far. Really shocking considering it is Oulton Park. Bit of a spinner there. I think that was Larson that went for a mini spin. He's managed to catch the car, but is losing a lot of ground. Unfortunately, he's going to have some catching up to do to the rest of the pack. But James Barry, hats off. He got a good start, but then Castro just about managed to sneak back into the lead. Heinz Braun as well got the jump on Reitinen. Reitinen himself is down 2 places from that opening few corners.
Yeah, Friedrich able to move up 2 spots there. I think he had an off track in his qualifying, but Sanchez, Kyrkopolis go round.
Oh, it's Sanchez. And, well, Sanchez had his problems last week, and it seems to have reared its ugly head once again, making contact on this opening lap and sends Kyrkopolis all the way to the back of the field. And, well, all the way back into the field and into the pits. He must have gotten big damage from that contact. And, well, we won't be seeing much of the Swiss driver at all, as that's Reitinen, who's maybe had a problem at the final corner. He is slipping all the way down the order. And, well, the Finn, after such an amazing qualifying session, going from 3rd all the way to nearly last.
Yeah, take a look at Reitinen here. Just get in that corner. Does he get a little bit of help? No, hits that curb. Down the hill, just gets a little bit too much tire spin here. You have to be so careful with those cold tires. And he goes back around. Luckily, no damage, but still has a lot to make up. The one thing I want to point out, 3 seconds from 1st to 4th. So the top 3 have pretty much pulled away, and that's what those 3 wanted to see. So we got a really good battle here for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Sanchez, who had a little contact earlier with Kyrkopolis, we'll see what they're going to be able to do.
Well, yeah, lucky for Sanchez, there's no live stewarding during these races, so he won't get any sort of time penalty. But he'll probably just have a little bit of guilt for the rest of this race, as bouncing over those curbs. And, well, the SR10 is not a car that I would say, that comes to mind as a car that would love to go over curbs, so just has to be careful there, does Sanchez. But here's another look at the accident going into Knickerbrook, and fantastic corner name. And a bit of an optimistic move from Sanchez on that opening lap, and unfortunately sends Kyrkopolis right into the wall, and, well, he escapes with huge amounts of damage to his Radical SR10, and we probably won't see him at all for the rest of this race, which is a shame. We always love to see Kyrkopolis, as this is Sanchez trying to go for another risky move on Iani up the inside into turn 3. Good move there from the Perunian driver. And, well, is Iani going to try and fight back? Looks like he's tempted to as we head through turns 4 and now down into turn 5. Probably one of the better overtaking opportunities is turn 5 on the entire track, as it has that nice long sequence from turn 3 all the way down to turn 5. Have to watch the dirty air, though, through turn 4. I think you can just about get away with it, but it is risky. And a couple of drivers already finding the dirty air to be a little bit troublesome, and especially with this faster layout without any of the chicanes, as that's an optimistic move from Lee Anderson. Don't do what Sanchez and Kyrkopolis did on that first lap. Definitely not what you want to see, but they managed to escape with no contact. But yeah, this faster layout with no chicanes is going to affect that dirty air, going to make it a little bit harder to follow other cars, as that's an off for Berger, who just got past Lee Anderson, but now has to do it all over again as a brief mistake from Berger. Again, one of the drivers who we've seen in the European Series do very, very well. But so far in today's race around Oulton Park, he seems to be struggling quite a bit.
Yeah, struggled a little bit. Got around Anderson there earlier, but we just made that mistake. And Woodward's trying to catch up and get around him. I want to make a big shout out. Up 7 spots is Myron up in 7th, and then Friedrich has moved his way all the way up to 12th place. But this battle for 15th and 14th is really heating up, and these drivers, like you said, really know how to push the limit of these cars because you have to if you want to make as much time as you can. And Sanchez back up to six, moved up 5 spots, and just starting to fall back from 5th. And you know, once you lose that slipstream, you're kind of out of luck. Oh, and around goes Sanchez.
Oh no, that was contact. That was big. Oh, even bigger contact as well. That was with Reed, I believe. And both of them are going to be out of this one permanently. That was huge damage sustained to both cars. You can see there Sanchez is limping his way back to the pits. And I think that was just contact from Iani behind. We'll get a look from Reed's perspective first, as he's the unfortunate one who came through and got that damage. And, well, where do you go? It's so awkward. And yeah, there was absolutely nothing Reed could have done there. And he tried his best to avoid the accident. And nearly did, to be fair. Very nearly did, but just a tad bit unlucky. Well, here's what happened. Ioni seems to be trying to do what Sanchez did on Kirakopolis, and, well, it ended the exact same way. It just seems like going for a move into turn 7 just does not seem to be the play. It just seems accident after accident today. And we've had, nearly 3 or 4 accidents going through that corner alone. And, well, some people would call Sanchez, you know, that accident was a little bit of karma.
Yeah, you can't pinch in those kind of corners because, you know, they're, first off, you have internet connections and all these other things. And it's with a tight corner, if you pinch, you end up with a wrecked race car. We got 4 cars parked for the night because of damage. So, but Castro is pulling away from Braun and Barry, and, you know, it's 1.2 seconds is the gap, but, you know, it's still a manageable gap for those drivers like Heinz Braun and James Barry. If those guys could work together, not worry about making overtakes and try to catch back up to Castro, because you never know, they may make a mistake. It's 17 laps, and you got to run all 17 if you want to win this thing. But great lap by Castro, 119.68 is his fastest lap, and this ran that 119.8. But Castro, Bronze, and Barry are still in the 119 second, and Gonzaga and a couple other down the field. But man, they're still sitting in a good spot to get by them. We're not even quite to the halfway point. And if you're James Barry, you're fast, but you race with Heinz Braun every week. So these drivers, I just think they're gonna be calm, cool, collected, and try to catch back up.
Yeah, definitely. James Barry is gonna have to think on this one, as Braun did get past Barry on track a few laps ago. But now as we head into turn 8, is it going to happen again? No, James Barry, definitely the more calm and collected, experienced head, thinking better of it. I believe we have asked James Barry a couple of times here that he has driven around Oulton Park a few times. Here we go, another move into turn 8 as they're going 3 wide at Oulton Park. Is this even possible without an accident? It is just about. That's Gabriel Berger, who's just gained 2 places in 1 corner. Hats off. And there's contact there, rubbing each other's bodywork together. Pause, but Anderson there trying his best to get back in front of Bryce, and he does eventually. Fantastic racing from all of these guys. This is rubbing and racing. This is what you want to see between drivers, not caring, just bumping each other off the road. This is true British heritage. This is fantastic stuff from these drivers, and this is more or less what we want to be seeing. There's some action in the background as well. I believe that's Woodward and Lorenzato going at it. Lorenzato just about missing out on an opportunity to get past, as Robert Woodward is defending for his life ahead of the Frenchman. But how much longer is he going to be able to defend from, as Reitinen is right here as well, who, don't forget, qualified in P3, so he has got some pace in that Radical SR10. And, well, there's another move going on down into turn 8. Honestly, I just get PTSD now going into this corner, but this time it ends safely. Larson choosing not to fight Andreas Friedrich. And, well, you were saying hats off to Iani, who's up 8 places. Friedrich's up 12.
Yeah, Friedrich and Iani are putting on a really good effort to move out the field. And, we're just seeing some good rubbing racing, and usually that ends up in a crash, and the way those drivers still give and take a little bit and are able to get through it. But yeah, Friedrich up to 7th place, and fast lap just put down by Castro, 119.5. And oh man, that's a lap time I can only dream of running. And because I was practicing here, I was running about my typical 123s, you know, slow, but man, whenever I get to run with these top split drivers, I'm like, just please don't lap me.
Yeah, these guys really are something else and something to behold, and you just sometimes have to take your hats off to these guys. They put in the effort, they put in the time, they put in the work to make sure that they are the fastest at the end of every single session. And, you know, drivers like Braun, Castro, Friedrich, all of these guys, as Barry, hello, has gotten back into second place, and it's turn 8 once again, and we survive to live another day as Braun tries to come back at the Brit, as they're just losing more and more time to Castro. Well, I say more and more time, the time has already been lost. 3.2 seconds now is the gap, so Castro's kind of walked this one, and now it's just a battle for P2 between these two equally matched drivers. And it just seems like no one has the pace to compete with the American up front. And it looks like he will be taking his first victory of the season as the battles rage on throughout the rest of the field. We've got so much going on here at Oulton Park. It's absolutely fantastic as Robert Woodward getting a bit shaky on the exit of the final corner and just has to concede the place to Wrighton. And it got very, very close between those two. Maybe Woodward thinking Wrighton was a little bit further ahead than he actually was, but it all ends cleanly in the end, and that's just what you want to see. And honestly, that's the best type of racing, like I was saying earlier, when they make contact, when they're barging each other off the road, and yet they still shake hands at the end of the day. They both come away alive from the battle. That's the racing you want to see, and it's brilliant that they're all showing some respect, as Anderson is a woman, I've just been told in my ear, so apologies for misgendering people. And well, so apparently she's a streamer on YouTube as well, so hats off to her. She's doing a fantastic job, and potentially looking at a top 10 as well in today's race. Got Gabrielle Berger about 6/10 up the road, so keep an eye on her as she continues to make more progress. As Robert Woodward still just in the midst of this battle for P12, as Wrighton might start to pull away soon. Bryce seems to be struggling. Is there going to be an opportunity? It's a good run for Woodward coming into the last corner. Is it going to be a last minute send? No, it's not. Just has to play the patient game. Bit of contact there and barging Bryce off of the road. And well, that's definitely not what you want to see. And Woodward maybe just, I don't really know. He just ride Bryce's tail that entire time, and maybe just being a little bit too optimistic.
It looked like he kind of broke a little bit harder, like the car got a little upset. We go on board with Woodward, and yeah, I just was going a little bit faster through the corner. And I don't think there's any intent there. Just was getting a little bit too close, and but you know, the nice thing is they move on and they're still digging. And they still got a ways to go, but they're still driving. There's Gonzaga sitting in that 5th place right behind Caruso and just putting on a really good effort. When I'm coming to do these races, I'm watching that top 5, seeing what they do to try to get a little bit more pace. But they're always just on it, and that's just what's super impressive about these drivers. But oh, see, that's the kind of move I like. I like to pull a little fakey like Gonzaga did. You look like I'm going to try to pass you. I'm just hoping you screw up, but I'm actually not intentionally trying to pass. Sometimes I accidentally screw up on my braking and make a little mistake, but I like that move by Gonzaga. I'm a huge fan of pulling a fakie, so maybe next time the fakie will work.
I 100% agree with you. The fake moves are just glorious to watch when they are pulled off correctly. As Larson loses a place to Friedrich, as well, actually I think they're battling here. As a big gap between Friedrich and Iani, it's about 4 seconds, so it's going to be tough for him to make up that time. And remember, Larson is no slouch. He is a very quick driver himself, going a little bit deep into turn 5. And, well, potentially this could actually be quite a good battle, as Andreas Friedrich has been struggling for pace in this race so far. Maybe he picked up some damage in those opening few laps, maybe, or just lacking any confidence around here at Oulton Park. I don't blame the man. This is a terrifying track to drive around sometimes, and especially on a day like today where it's foggy, can barely see in front of you. And well, this is kind of the standard norm for the UK. It's grey, it's miserable, but we're going racing anyway. as Anderson has lost a place to Rysonen, and well, Rysonen really is putting his paces and pushing that Radical to its absolute limit at the moment. He is on a mission to get back into the top 10 after that opening lap. I think it was a mistake from him in that final corner.
Yeah, here's a nice pass by Rysonen just to get back up the field after spinning out and just not giving up. Leah Anderson putting on a heck of an effort, up 5 spots from where they started, put on a heck of an effort. But I always got to give some props to anybody that gets spun or wrecks on that first lap, that stays in it and tries to make up as many spots as they can, because Rysonen was, I think, down at 18th or 19th at the time of the spin, moved up to 11th, so that's pretty good. But what else is pretty good is this battle for the 4th spot with Caruso, Gonzaga, and Ione, and they just putting on an effort. Nice move. Here it comes.
Yep, here we go. Caruso up the inside, and that's going to leave Ione the chance to get past his teammate. Gonzaga was just left out to dry there. And, well, he's got passed by both drivers in the space of just one corner, and he's not going to be happy about that at all. Are we going to see some kind of resurgence from Gonzaga in these next few laps? And, well, like you said, that's always what you want to see from a driver. They make a mistake, or maybe they, get pushed wide, or, instead of giving up and just settling for whatever place they're in, they keep on going, they keep pushing through. And when you see a driver doing that, it is just something to behold. It's great to watch, as this is Lorenzato trying to get past Woodward still. Woodward seems to be defending very hard from the Frenchman. These guys have been going at it for quite some time now, as Lorenzato needs to find an opening and needs to potentially be a little bit braver on the brakes, as you saw into that last corner and the first corner that Lorenzato seems to get the run on him, but then just doesn't have the momentum into the braking zone to try and get that position. And potentially Lorenzato might start taking more risks as this race slowly but surely comes to a close, as I believe Castro had a bit of a poor lap on lap 12, as he lost 2 seconds at one point, perhaps a back marker or potentially a little mistake from the American cost him some time. I believe we can have a look at what happened to Andrea Castro. It looks like an off-track, although off-tracks can be fairly common round here at Oulton Park, and wow, you're definitely not going to lose 2 seconds from doing that. So whatever happened to Castro, yeah, well, he seems to be going fine now, as the lap times slowly start to drop off towards the end of the race, as the tyres start to slowly scream out for help, as they've been put through their paces for nearly 20 minutes straight.
I think to keep an eye on is if Gonzaga, Ione, and Caruso start really battling. Friedrich is only 3 seconds back, so I mean, there could potentially have some. You see them there back in just back there. So if these guys start racing hard, they might allow Friedrich and Larson to catch up to them, make it a good battle for 4th position, and still a little bit left in the race, lap 14 to 17. So we'll see. But here's Rysonen just trying to catch up to Berger here, and just trying to find a way around and just methodically work the car and try to find a spot. Got a good run coming here.
Yes, he does. Rysonen has got a fantastic run on Gabriel Berger. Remember, this is going to be for 10th place. It would be something to behold if Rysonen can pull this off, and I believe he has done. Stay on the track, Rysonen, and he does just about do so, and Gabriel Berger just has to concede. He's going to try and fight this one back, though, as he tries to go around the outside here at Droids. This is a fantastic battle for the last place in the top 10 between these two. I thought it was done and dusted, but it's not, as we head into the final corner. Berger is putting up a fantastic effort to try and keep hold of this 10th place. He's still just about alongside, and don't forget Leah Anderson as well, who could magically pull off a fantastic move as she dives up the inside. How on earth did they avoid contact from that? Brilliant effort by the three of them. Oh, amazing racing between these guys. Gabriel Berger trying still to get ahead of Sauli Rysonen, but Rysonen definitely the quicker car out of these three, as he has pulled off some amazing moves over the course of this race in his effort to try and make a comeback and save as much of his iRacing as he can. And well, at the moment, he is gaining just about. He's gaining 7 iRacing, so he's done it. He's gotten back into that top 10, and surely it's just going to be between Berger and Anderson now for P11. Anderson's going to look up the inside into Knickerbrook corner. Is it going to be a repeat of what we've seen so far this race? Anderson gets up the inside cleanly and gets ahead of Berger, but like we saw last lap, Berger's going to try and fight this one again. He's going to choose the inside line going into Droids this time. And it's super close between these two. Berger gets back ahead. And Anderson is surely going to go for a dive bomb into this last corner. No, she chooses the sensible option. And, well, we head on to the penultimate lap of the race. And that is a catch and a half. The reaction times of a fighter pilot from Leah Anderson to make sure this radical car stays on track. What an absolutely brilliant lap and a half that was from these 3 drivers. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Caruso falls back to 9th place and gives up the spot to Friedrich, who moved up to 6th. Went off track and just kind of got back collected up. So not what Caruso wanted to do, but Friedrich up to 6th place. And, you know, here's the funny thing. Friedrich goes from 19th to 6th. Did not have a qualifying lap because he went off track. He's still losing 4 iRate.
Yeah, that's it.
There, yep. Oh.
Well, he nearly saved it. Very nearly, Caruso, but just didn't, as Anderson has now pulled away quite a bit from Berger. Probably a mistake there, but Andreas Friedrich now is just starting to pull away from Larson just a tiny bit. And while this is going to be the white flag, Andrea Castro, one of the most dominant victories probably that I will ever see. I mean, anything can happen on this last lap, but if it stays as it is, if he hadn't made that mistake just a few laps ago, it would be about 5 seconds, maybe more. And, well, just hats off to this man, and potentially if we see more of him, well, wow, it's going to be something to behold, honestly, as this is Caruso. This is heading into turn 1. It's probably just gone wide here at turn 1, and yeah, just probably one of the easiest off tracks on this entire track here at Oulton Park. It's the one that's the most common, and in a qualifying lap, it really can bite you in the backside, as James Barry in 2nd place has managed to hold on to this 2nd place for a long time, as Heinz Braun has been pressuring him throughout this entire race. And, well, can Braun potentially snatch that P2 away within the final few corners? Can Larson snatch P6 away from Friedrich as well? Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's just to be patient, as that's Heinz Braun potentially trying to look around the outside as we head into the final few corners. This is the last corner. I think James Barry's just about managed to hold on to 2nd place, but it's Andrea Castro who takes the victory here at Oulton Park by 3.5 seconds. What a dominant victory by the American driver, as Barry holds on to 2nd place ahead of Braun, and Iani magically manages to get 4th in the end. Gonzaga 5th, good result for him. Friedrich, good comeback from pretty much last place, managed to avoid all the chaos of those opening few laps. Lorenzato didn't manage to get ahead of Woodward in the end. And, well, that's just what you're going to get every single week here on the Radical Esports series, just utter chaos and sometimes confusion as we briefly watch what happened between these two drivers in those final few corners.
I mean, wow. You know, Heinz Braun using that as much of the track. You have off tracks to give. I mean, you might as well go for it. Gets that good run. And then major props to James Barry for just hanging on and maintaining that 2nd spot, because that was a heck of an effort. Not a lot of drivers be able to hold off Heinz Braun like that on the end, especially when Heinz had such a big run.
Yeah, that was really good stuff by the pair of them. And, well, just really good stuff by the entire lobby today, really. There were, a couple moments in there where it was a little bit argy-bargy and a bit tense, and we did have some incidents, but overall it was just great racing to watch. And, well, that's what you're going to get at an old-school track at Oulton Park. It's just going to give you that classic racing that we're so often used to in these British tracks. And it was great from start to finish. And, well, you're going to get something a bit different next week. I believe next week is going to be Spa, the new rescanned Spa. That's going to be interesting to say the least. And while we wait for some drivers to come in the interview box, I imagine some of them are talking to each other right now, just congratulating each other on a job well done. And well, we can take a look at the final results from our 20-car grid while we wait patiently. And this is Andrea Castro, who I don't really think any of us had a doubt for 1 second. You know, James Barry briefly got the lead into the first corner, but then just 2 corners later had to relinquish it. And from then on, Castro never looked back. A fantastic victory for him as he wins 3.5 seconds ahead of James Barry, who magically managed to hold on to that second place. So it's first and second for these first 2 races for James Barry, not too shabby at all. And Heinz Braun, unfortunately, didn't manage to put enough pressure on the Brit to secure a P2 for the first time this season. And Maroney, I think you mentioned it a couple times, Avery, up 10 places. Hats off to the Italian. Very, very impressive drive. Gonzaga as well. Good result for him in P5. Friedrich up 13 places. Of course, a good drive from him. Larson in 7th place. Wetz, who we didn't really see too much of actually, did a pretty good race. Up 5 places into 8th. Caruso, obviously with that mistake, unfortunately, in 9th. Raisinen, albeit, lost 7 places, but that comeback from 19th and way down the order to 10th place. Hats off to the Finn driver. He should be proud of that. Leah Anderson in 11th place. Gabriel Berger in 12th. Robert Woodward managed to hold off Lorenzato for the entire race. Don't know how he managed that, but he did, as they finished 13th and 14th. Bryce in 15th place. Telemadari in 16th. Reed in 17th. Karakopolis, of course, with his big incident in 18th place. And then Sanchez with his even bigger incident with about 3 other cars in 19th place. And then Cadora in 20th place, who I don't believe we actually saw what happened to him, but I believe he just had a mistake all by himself. And, well, Avery, we do have one interviewee, and it's James Barry, and I'll drag him in so we can have a quick chat to James. And welcome to the interview booth, Barry. It was a decent race from your part. It's probably a shame you weren't able to challenge Castro up front. His pace was electric, but holding off Heinz Braun for that many laps, it was a great battle between you two. It must leave you feeling good.
Yeah, it was a bit of fun. It's really, you can have some really good battles here when people behave. And it was a shame that I couldn't, as you said, hold on to Andre because I wasn't driving great today. I got really lucky with qualifying. Loads of people, I messed up the quali laps. So I got away with on there. And then, I lost Andre, so that was a shame because I would have liked to challenge him. But yeah, as you said, really good little race with me and Andre. And then I guess further back, there's probably a lot of stuff happening as well.
Well, you're not wrong there at all. There was a lot of things happening today, and like you said, when people are keeping it clean, it really does provide some good racing, and that's exactly what we got today. It was fantastic from start to finish. But just talk about that qualifying lap. We mentioned it briefly. Is it just really difficult to hook one up around this track, mainly because of those off tracks?
It can be. I did better earlier in the week. Today I messed up my first lap, and then I was being really cautious on my second lap. I kept missing the apex in Knickerbrook, which is a really tough corner to get right if you're not really in your groove. And then my teammate Andreas, who is probably faster than me here, he messed up both of his quali laps and he was starting last, and he had a really good comeback drive, it seemed. Yeah, so everyone was kind of struggling, and the track's quite slippery, and people complain about the understeer in this car, so it's really quite difficult to get it exactly right.
Yeah, definitely. Oulton Park has always been a challenging circuit, and especially with a more higher speed car like this, it really is a challenging one indeed. But heading into next week then, we're going to Spa, and we might have spoken about this briefly to you at some point, but of course it's the new scanned version of Spa, and it's going to be pretty much the opposite racing to what we had here. There's not really much slipstream around this track, and next week it's going to be nothing but.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a cool week. It's the European Championship race as well next week, so we're going to be practicing for that, and everyone's really fast at Spa. The new scan, I've driven it once, just a few laps to check it out, and it's quite nice. So yeah, it's going to be crazy. That's always crazy at Spa because the draft in this car is so powerful. So definitely that's going to be one to come and check out on Apex Racing TV. See what the carnage that happens.
Cheeky little plug from James Barry, promoting Apex Racing. I appreciate it very much. And well, I'll be here to watch this race next Friday and also the European race. So very much looking forward to both of those. Well, thank you for coming and having a chat with us, James. It's always a pleasure. And before you let you go, anyone you want to give a mention or shout out to?
Shout out everyone in the community. Like, it's always, whatever happens in these races, it's always a lot of fun with all the competitive drivers we have. So yeah, thanks for everyone who shows up.
Yeah, it was a very good day of racing today, indeed. Well, thank you, James. And, well, congrats on the P2 and good luck for Spa, well, both races next week on Friday and Sunday.
Thank you. Yep, see you there. Bye-bye.
Oh, that was James Barry, your second place man for tonight. And I don't believe we've... Oh, no, we do. Never mind. Castro has managed to pop into the interview box at the last minute. So, Avery, I'll let you take the reins on this one.
Well, we got the winner from Oulton Park and Andre Castro. If you take a look at putting on a clinic in the dictionary, your name pops up. I just checked on my phone app. So congrats on a fantastic run. Tell us how important it was just to qualify up front here.
Yeah, thanks. It was a pretty fun race. I mean, for sure, I put a little more practice than I usually do into these races, so that definitely helped me out quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, it was only like 15 laps, but certainly enough to kind of figure out where I could brake in all the corners. Sometimes I come in a little undercooked into these races, but yeah, the start was definitely not my forte in that one. Still got to figure out how to get off the line in these things, but yeah, credit to everybody there, especially James. Raced me clean at the start, and yeah, I just felt like I got into a rhythm and just kind of worked out for me there. Definitely pushed a little too hard once and almost lost it. Had to 2-foot it, but yeah, after that point I said, okay, I'll calm down and try to bring it home. So that's what we did, and yeah, it was a fun race.
Yeah, one of those moments where you got to tell yourself to calm down, take a deep breath. We're all right. But like you said, I mean, when you have a guy like James Barry driving with you, that's a guy you want to be racing you because he's going to run you hard, but he's also going to run you clean. So that's something we see every week with these cars. But we got to go into a little bit different track next week at Spa. It's with the whole repave and all that jazz. So a lot of people's notebooks have gotten a little don't have as much notes. But what do you come to expect for Spa?
Well, it should be fun. We'll see. If I'm home next week, I definitely feel like this could be a good omen to try to see if we can run for the championship, but we'll see, just depending on other things. I would love to race Spa. Obviously everybody's excited about the rescan, so yeah, I've actually raced at the old Spa in this car before a few seasons ago, and it's definitely interesting with the draft. If you're in a tight battle coming down the end of Camel Spray, it's going to be a test to see who gives up first, who backs out first. Sometimes both guys go in there and have an incident. So yeah, I'm sure, one thing I'm happy to see is that, I've been more or less in and out of this series for a few seasons, race here, race there, and it's definitely first time I've seen 3 splits. So it's really nice to see participation is up and people are driving this car because it's a really, really fun car to drive. So hopefully we can get, as much, if not more, participation at Spa, and we'll see. Hopefully I'll be there. But yeah, thanks to you guys for continuing to put on these broadcasts at a really professional level. It's really nice.
Oh yeah, we appreciate having a great race to cover. Anybody else like to give a shout out to?
I mean, teammate Chris Wetz finished 8th. Spotter Cullen Brown up in the stand. That's about it. Shout out to all the other competitors and everybody in the other splits, and yeah, hope to see you guys again soon. Awesome.
Yeah, it's always good to have somebody up helping you spotting another teammate out in the track. So congrats on the win. I hope this.
All right, thank you.
Well, yeah, I was just about to say we've got some connection issues here with Avery, unfortunate, but thank you, Castro, for coming and speaking with us. And, well, we hope to see him return to form sometime soon in the near future. Well, that was a pretty good day of racing, I'd say, at Oulton Park. It's always an amazing day of racing whenever we come to these old school British tracks. And, well, I'll try to ask Avery if he's still here, if he enjoyed today's racing. Avery, if you're here, how did you feel about today's racing here at Oulton Park?
I felt fantastic about the racing. Not so good about the connection of the old interwebs, but let me tell you what, man. It's just an honor. I call one of these races about once a month, just kind of filling in for, JR tonight. But this is the reason why if the race doesn't split, I'll usually try to do the race if I'm home because, man, such a good effort by all the drivers. They always run real hard, and for the most part, few incidents, but I think the big thing is make sure you subscribe to this channel, same place, same time next week at Spa. I think that's going to be a barn burner, and it'll be one I'll be watching. I won't be home to race, but I'll definitely be watching away from the house.
Well, I'll be there to watch it because I'll be there commentating it. I cannot wait for next week. I'm going to get to watch 3 races at Oulton Park, at Spa, in Radicals, within 2 days. So I'm a happy man. It's going to be fun. Make sure you tune in same time next week here on Apex Racing TV. God, I can't speak. Friday, 21 GMT. And, well, it's going to be a good day of racing. And, well, it's been a good day of racing today here at Oulton Park. I've been Aaron Smith, your host for tonight. Gregory should be back next week, hopefully, but I've been joined by Avery McDonald tonight. Been a pleasure, Avery, and hope to see you soon on here on Apex. And Joshua Wilkie in the production booth as well. And from all of us, we will see you next week, 1 week's time at Spa, here on the Radical Esports Cup on Apex Racing TV. See you then.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.